She said that basically every prayer given up by humans, every meditation, reflection, prayer, boils down to three topics. Help me understand how to get through this. Help me solve this problem. Help me see my way. Thanks. Thanks for the incredible blessings of life. Thanks for things even when it's hard to find things to be thankful for. And wow. Wow is being reminded of the incredible things about creation and companionship.
In a world so focused on the individual, you are the ones who are selfless, focusing on the safety of our brothers and sisters across this great country. And with that, I want you to offer yourselves a round of applause for all the awesome work you do keeping our community safe. My background was intro a little bit before. I come from a family from a bunch of folks who have worn the uniform before. Don't hold it against me. My father and grandfathers were cops. My brother served 20 years in the Marines. My stepdad was a Navy man. After the Naval Academy, I served on 3 overseas deployments and got to really fall in love with this country, and it's an honor to serve in Congress today. And it's with that background, that experience, and that DNA that I can offer you that I understand the sacrifices that you make, the long shifts, the sleepless nights, the missed birthdays and holidays. I know the weight that you carry, not just physically, but emotionally, because you don't just see emergencies, you live them over and over again.
You are the one that has the vision. You're the one that said, we are going to do 21st century finance right here in the United States of America. I've been doing this for 9 years. It is amazing how far we've come, and that's a credit to you, Mr. President, and your leadership, and God bless you for doing this, because it's going to make a huge difference with everything else you're doing. And
this risks our national security and emboldens dictators around the globe. History will judge us for abandoning a democracy under attack and for leaving innocent people to defend themselves against an aggressive authoritarian regime. But there's still time for my Republican friends to speak up.
Trump is not doing this because he wants to force both sides to a peace agreement. He's put no pressure on Russia. He's taken it off. He's doing it because he's sympathetic to Putin and Russia and not sympathetic to Zelensky. And I'll leave it to therapists to figure out exactly why that is, but it is absolutely true and the case. He's sympathetic to Russia, not sympathetic to Ukraine. Now, what I'm trying to do is to put pressure on Republicans to push back against this with a very simple argument. I also heard one of your previous people talking about Trump wants a Nobel Peace Prize. He thinks he's going to force peace. If he doesn't put pressure on Putin, if he keeps putting all the pressure on Zelensky in Ukraine, who, by the way, had plenty of pressure on them already from Russia, he's not going to get that. And I want to point out, Neville Chamberlain did not get a Nobel Peace Prize when Hitler took over Czechoslovakia. So if you're going to want that peace prize, you better start putting pressure on Putin and Russia to force them to the table. Putin's the one who doesn't want to negotiate, and Trump's putting all of the pressure on Zelensky. It is not just a betrayal of democracy and a betrayal of our commitment to Ukraine. It's stupid if you're trying to actually get to a peace agreement.
This is what the president wrote, quote, based on the fact that Russia is absolutely pounding Ukraine on the battlefield right now, I am strongly considering large-scale banking sanctions and tariffs on Russia until a ceasefire and final settlement agreement on peace is reached. All right, the threat obviously is notable given the weeks of conciliatory statements toward Russia and Vladimir Putin. With us now is Congressman John Garamendi, a Democrat from California, a senior ranking member of the Armed Services Committee. Congressman, your reaction to that threat from President Trump, and how seriously do you think Vladimir Putin will take it after, as we said, the conciliatory gestures of the last few weeks?
Well, if you consider what Trump's position has been since the inaugural, I'm sure Putin is going, oh yeah, right, not going to happen.
The Stanley Cup is the most iconic trophy in sports. It literally is the holy grail. And where I come from, this is a religious experience.
Of the many lies that he told last night, one of the most troubling surrounded his attack on Social Security. You'll remember it as extended laughter and extended ridicule as he talked about Social Security paying out millions of dollars to people that were over 150 years old. This is the Social Security system that has delivered decade after decade, month after month, to provide life-sustaining support for seniors and for those with disabilities. And this attack accompanies Elon Musk's declaration this week that Social Security is just a Ponzi scheme. This extended attack on Social Security is based on a bold-faced lie. Trump knows, his staff knows, that Social Security is not paying out a dime to anyone who's over 115 years old. That's been true long since the Inspector General's report. Social Security makes payments to 72 million Americans each year, and less than 1% of the payments have ever been found to be improper. And those improper payments, they're not just overpayments or payments to a dead person. They include underpayments where Social Security failed to pay enough to some senior or individual with disabilities.
These aren't just numbers on a page. These are real families, real educators, real programs that are centerpieces of local communities, and taking away access to services for families is not finding efficiency. It is making the lives of working people harder.
That money needs to be paid by the parent. And that is a huge burden and a massive impossibility for almost any household. Medicaid waivers help pay for those programs. And without Medicaid waivers, children are left at home. They are left without resources and services. They are often lonely and isolated. And henceforth, so are the parents, because caregiving 24 hours a day for a child is very, very challenging.
Well, we're starting to work on Monday, now moving forward with the reconciliation package and ways and means to get really close to everything that we've been talking about. We have to remember, had President Trump not won the presidency, none of this would be even being talked about right now. We would still be under Joe Biden's policy of appeasement around the world, a wide open border that the Democrats say they wanted to close now. And we would see wars everywhere that's costing literally trillions of dollars of taxpayer dollars.
Okay, it's time for the government to be transparent and accountable. That's what the American people want. We want businesses and workers want less regulation and lower taxes. So now, Executive Director Melito, is it true that small business optimism has surged since President Trump has been elected?
It's very true, and the Trump effect is real. I will tell you that. It surged, in 2018 too. And as I said before, small business owners are anxious for President Trump to get started on this regulatory rollback there.
That's great.
As the chairman said in his opening statement, President Biden's policies hampered job creation.
I'm in full support of permanent tax cuts. I think that puts money back in our pockets. And not this wasteful spending. I'm in full support of making sure that the administration has all the resources it needs for repatriation flights and going out and tracking down these convicted criminal illegal aliens, making our community safe.